am Magnus Walker, and I've been obsessed with Porsches for the past 45 years. I've built, collected, driven, raced and restored quite a lot of P cars in my time. But this show is all about other people's Porsches. So take a ride along with me as I find out all there is to know about OPP. Today I'm driving Paul Kramer's 86 Carrera, a car he calls La Tortuga, which I think means turtle in Spanish. So let's have a word with Paul. Morning, Paul. How you doing, mate?
Good. What's up, buddy?
Good to see you. So La Tortuga, what does that mean? Why?
It means turtle in Spanish.
Yeah.
Your Spanish is excellent.
¿Cómo está? Mira,
Yeah.
mira. Buenos días.
And when we were at the inaugural Targa Baja in 2014, in Ensenada, the mayor of Ensenada named the car. We were giving awards out, and he was trying to give an award to this, and we couldn't figure out which Porsche. He says, it's the Porsche, and there was a bunch of them. And he said basically whatever the one that had all the crap on the roof. And I kind of said, yeah, that's it. And he goes, yeah, it's La Tortuga, like a turtle with a shell and a bunch of crap.
So that's it. All right. So
and it's stuck.
86 Carrera that does not look like an 86 Carrera. It's a backdate, right?
Correct. It was backdated in hard to say, sometime in the 90s before they were backdating cars, before they understood what backdating was. I've tried to reach the old owner who had it for many, many years. I think what happened was he got in an accident, the car was banged up, he had a bunch of donor cars. I bought it, I want to say 2013 or 12, so almost 10, 11 years, it's hard to believe.
How many miles were on it when you got it?
About 210,000 miles, and now it's got 341,000 miles. So a little bit of that.
341, that's nuts. So let's start at the front. Obviously it's got a lot of character, it's got a lot of road rash, it's got a lot of cool looking plaques on the front, but talk me through it.
Yeah, the car was years of me doing rallies and drives and refining what I needed from a car.
Got it.
And when I got the car, I liked it because it was an 86. It's one of my favorite years.
Why do you like 86?
I like the 915 transmission versus the later G50.
All these guys think they have to have a G50. It's kind of a bit of a myth, right?
If they drove them, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They drive great. The original transmission went 290,000 miles. No problem.
Original 3.2 motor?
Original 3.2 motor, never really been rebuilt.
Wow, never rebuilt.
So,
341,000 miles.
Yeah, knock on wood. Keeps going, burns a
Irish
oil.
green the original color?
No, it was a red 86 Carrera with a wing.
Got it.
Your classic 80s look.
Got it.
And it got painted Irish green, or a version of Irish green.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
And if you saw pictures from when I bought it, there were no chips. It looked kind of nice.
This is what I love about it. You got all these what I call memorable moments, smiles per mile, character, patina. I mentioned earlier on, I saw this here, which was character right here on the front wheel arch. Tell me what's going on here.
Character is the nicest way for a messed up fender. But when they were doing the backdate, he cut the fender in half.
Got it.
And welded on early fender, and that's an 86 fender.
Got it.
And then of course there was probably Bondo to make it all work. And then we were, at the very beginning we got it, we were messing with wheels and tires and we were rubbing. So my dad decides he's gonna roll the fender.
Old school baseball bat rolling?
Yeah.
Sort of?
Sort of. It wasn't the best thing, and that's where we found the Bondo.
Oh, got it.
So then my dad went and got model paint and touched it.
Oh, cool.
Which hasn't really survived, but it doesn't rub anymore. There's something liberating about not caring.
Yeah, I get it. Form and function. So what is the front bumper?
It's from like a 71 and older, non 11, not an S.
Got it.
It's just a base one.
So you got fog lights through the horn grills. Tell me about those.
Well, I had the fancy, expensive ones, and they lasted like one rally.
Got it.
And shattered. And so I found these on eBay, and they're like $50 a pair, and I just replaced them. Like that one, as you can see, just got replaced because it got destroyed.
Tell me what's going on here.
So with all and this actually, people think I did this because I want to go drive in dirt. I do drive a lot of dirt, and it's really fun. But really, it started with the Texas Hill Country Rally. They had these big dips and we were constantly bottoming out. Just the noise, you're like, I got to drive this home another 1,000 miles.
You don't want to rupture your fuel.
Yeah, so we basically had a friend who does off-road stuff, kind of overbuilt a chromoly frame and massive skid plates, and they go all the way to the floor, and then there's another one that goes from the floor all the way back.
Okay. Let's talk about the next thing, clearance. This is not low, you've raised it up. We're not trying to do a full-on Baja build. I think your vibe is different. Tell me about the ride height, suspension, wheel and tire combo, and clearance.
Yeah, mechanically, from suspension, it is bone stock. Bilstein HDs. I just replaced all the bushings with new factory rubber bushings. Nothing fancy, stock sway bars, but everything is new bushings, and we keep replacing them as we need. And then it's actually closer to US ride height. We raised it a little higher, but then we couldn't get a camber, so we lowered it a little bit. And it was just enough to drive through driveways, go where we wanted to go, and not have to crawl sideways and be worried about it. Just drive it like a car and not think about it. And
so by raising it up, you've actually made it more usable.
Way more usable.
What is the wheel and tire setup? Looks like you're on old Steelers, but I don't think they're old Steelers.
No, they're not. They are.
They don't weigh like 50 pounds a wheel.
No, we had old Steelies on there, and they were 7-inch and 8-inch by 15. And the guys at Group 4 had a 7-inch, and I kept bugging them, and this was their prototype 8-inch. To do an 8-inch, so it looks like a steel wheel. It's alloy.
But this is a 16.
16, which is really what the car was chassis-wise designed for. Magically, the car rides better, but the biggest reason to go to a 16, even though I love the look of 15s, is tire availability. This is the first time I can run a summer tire.
When are you leaving on the Texas Rally?
3 weeks from today.
Okay, and this is like 4,000 miles total there and back?
4,000 miles. We do
7 days?
7 days. The event is 2.5 days.
So you all drive out together?
Drive out together. Some of us meet in Arizona. We pick up people along the way. And it makes the drive out there fun. On the way back, we just power down and get back in a day and a half.
Pedal to the metal. Now, let's talk about the roof rack. You got some old school wooden skis on it. You got some sort of case. You got a studded tire, an old rusty gas can. What's going on with the roof rack?
It is.
I mean, it looks cool, but what's going on?
That is it. It is no function. In fact, we're debating about Texas putting a different rack on and carrying actual 2 wheels and tires.
You're not going to put a tent on the roof rack?
Fuck no.
All right. That's all I need to know.
And actually, I ran across the guy who made the Volkswagen racks for years, and I bugged him. He finally made a few of these, and then I referred him to friends, and he called me one day and says, I'm not dealing with your Porsche friends.
They're the worst kind, those Porsche buddies.
I'm not making any more roof racks.
Yeah.
Please stop referring them. Really the idea was, if you look at the old 60s, early 70s photos, the guys in Europe, they had these 911s. That was their one car solution. They would drive it to work. They would go skiing. And I just love the look of all the multi-purpose.
Everything you need.
They would have skis, and it just, I thought, it kind of looked like a good adventure movie.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you're having a lot of great adventures.
Absolutely.
You got a lot of stickers on it. I love that. So tell me about the door. Hand painted, you could have gone, I guess, a vinyl decal. This is old school cool. Tell me about it.
Well, it was actually my dad's idea. It was your 2015, the Road to Rennsport with Momo. And we parked in that special place you had for people who did the drive. And people were taking all these pictures I wasn't used to of the car. I didn't realize how weird it looked. And my dad says, we ought to have our logo on the door so that, because my dad's the type of person like promote.
Yeah, he's smart. Ed's a smart guy.
He thought about vinyl, and I ran across John Benton's bus and a guy named Tim Leventree, who just passed away a couple years ago. Talented artist. He was painting buses and stuff in the 70s, and he was in Brea. And I gave him some ideas. And I said, hey, I want it to look like vintage. It's been there for a while. And he hand painted it on.
That looks awesome.
And
it is what it is.
It's stayed on, and it's, plus, who's gonna buy my car now?
Kennel, I know you're the auto Kennel. I'm assuming the Countach was the dream car as a kid.
You nailed it. This was a white on white, wheels, white interior. Countach was everything to me as a kid. Still
80s
is to
all
me.
the way.
And this is my carrot. Like one day.
That's it. You know what they say about meeting your heroes though, right? Do you want to drive a Countach?
Absolutely.
You do, all right.
It could drive like dog shit.
It probably will.
And I will love it.
All right, that's all that matters.
I've had many conversations with Matt Farah about his.
Okay.
And I think him and I see the same. All the inadequacies of that car, it doesn't matter. It's just such a iconic thing to your heart.
Got it.
And I'll have it.
All right, well, on that note, there's the Auto Kennel Countach in the dog pen. What's going on with the rear? Tell me about these flares.
Well, it's a stock Carrera. So the flares, the rear end is
You
stock.
you haven't modified anything?
Nope.
Let's pop the trunk, look at the engine.
Yeah.
So, it says 911E. We know that's an earlier grille.
Well, the only reason it says 911E is I've had several different ones and the letter C's gold because stuff fell off while driving. So it's whatever I had left over.
Got it. So stock 3.2.
Stock 3.2 Carrera motor. We've done lots of.
Looks like you got AC.
Got modern AC,
Yeah.
and we've spent probably $10,000 on AC.
Does it blow cold?
It blows ice cold, which is great because when you're on a 1,000-mile rally and you're driving freeway forever in the summer, it's nice to have. Or just to close the windows and not have all the noise.
Yeah, I get it.
But
so
the motor's never been rebuilt. It doesn't have any modifications for performance. We don't have a cat on it. And then we made a custom muffler out of an old muffler.
Tell me about the muffler, because it does sound pretty awesome.
Basically, we took an old Carrera muffler, gave it to a muffler shop, he cut it open, pulled a bunch of crap out, welded things, and voila, the noise is what it is.
How many quarts of oil do you go through? How often are you putting oil?
When we're driving aggressive, it'll go maybe 500-600 miles on a quart.
Oh, wow.
If we're cruising, we can get to 1,000, 1,200. I've tried all kinds of oils, some oils.
Do you have the stock front cooler, or do you do anything on cooling?
Yeah, stock Carrera cooler. We just put an electric fan.
Okay.
It didn't come on it, but we have electric fan.
Does it ever run hot, or you like 210?
Yeah, we struggled. Going to Utah recently, we struggled with heat.
What did it get up to?
240.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah. We also did elephant line,
fin lines down the side.
Just anything to create more volume of oil and more cooling.
Got it. All right. So let's take a look inside. First thing I noticed are these green face gauges. Obviously a throwback to early short wheelbase. You got the short wheelbase mirror. What's going on with the gauges?
It had just the stock gauges. I didn't like the look of them, and I always liked the 67S gauges. They're not exactly like that, but they're pretty close, and just had them rebuilt to emulate a 67S-ish.
Got it. So here's your 86 telltale sign on the dash right there.
Yeah, the 86 was the first year that they really did modern ventilation. It has cruise control that does work.
No way.
And people make fun of it, but when you're just going for hundreds of miles straight somewhere, it's kind of nice.
Interesting.
My dad does, he's an amateur woodworker.
Amateur woodworker, I
but
like
he
that.
does some amazing stuff.
So you got your short wheelbase inspired.
Yeah, this was one piece of spalted maple.
Oh.
And you could see it kind of carry all the way through.
Yeah, the grain through.
And it even has a grain with a little heart on it.
Oh, how sweet is that?
And then we found this is an old 50s Breitling stopwatch and an old Hoyer.
Very cool. Tell me about this. This is Ed's rear view mirror. Tell me about the double. You got the short wheelbase mirror here, which I noticed, which is great. But what's going on here?
Well, when we put one of the new windshields on, we still left the mount.
Yeah.
And my dad complained that we don't have a side mirror. I hate right-hand mirrors. We put a ski mirror on there, which was water ski mirror, which was convex, and he's like, "Oh, I could tell there's crap behind me, but I can't tell what it is." Yeah. So it was actually his idea when we put the windshield. And he's like, "What if we move this to where I can see it?"
And he's spotting.
And he can spot, how many cars are behind us. Is there a cop behind us?
That's awesome. Tell me about the steering wheel.
This was a tough. I am a huge person about steering wheels. It's something that you engage with constantly, and I just didn't like the Momo. We had a beautiful Nardi from the 70s that was on my dad's Mercedes, so it was sentimental. But when you're in a hot summer and rally, I just cannot stand driving gloves.
Yeah.
What I really liked about this was, one, it was 370 millimeter, which is the smallest diameter Porsche really had in these kind of cars.
Bit more leverage.
More leverage, works for...
Ironically, came on a 73 RS Carrera, originally a 370 millimeter.
And what was unique about it was it had this wood in the background.
Yeah, I see that.
Really carried into the theme. Which
wood aluminum?
I mean, someone who designed this wheel actually knew how to drive.
So talking about driving, one of the first things I noticed about your car was how well it shifts.
The biggest thing people like to do is go full race car. They put a really notchy short shift in. My goal was to have something not as sloppy as a stock one, but raise the shifter so it wasn't like I was reaching all the way down there.
It's in the perfect spot.
And a friend of mine had this shifter, and it was tall, and we bought a wooden knob. My dad then basically patinaed it to make it look right.
Got it.
It felt like it was going into gear properly without being too notchy and predictable.
Tell me a bit more about the transmission, and do you have a limited slip? I don't think you do.
The transmission is, when we rebuilt it, after 290,000 miles, all it needed was synchros. We did bearings anyway, because people might as well were in there, but the transmission was proof that whoever owned this car
knew how to drive.
Knew how to drive it.
Knew how to shift.
And it didn't have a limited slip, and I'm not tracking this car, and I wanted higher ride height. If you're going to do a limited slip, you will induce understeer. So you need to do suspension work and camber, which I wasn't going to get.
We're going to stiffen it up, which you didn't do.
Counterproductive. Counterproductive.
It's like a step backwards, like a lot of people.
And everyone
do.
wants to just go full race with everything.
Yeah,
Engine,
and then it's not as
suspension.
streetable.
And it's not as streetable, and I kept on basically holding back and going, okay, what am I actually using this for? And build it to make
to that
it
purpose.
For that
smart,
purpose.
well
Exactly.
thought out. So you're putting thousands of miles on these rallies in these seats, which are also, they look awesome in this Pepita houndstooth with the green. They look like some sort of sports seat. What are they?
Good friends, you know, with Stefan at GTS Seats. I've known him since he kind of first started with these seats. And he custom made a set, redid them.
Okay.
I wanted, they were vinyl before, now
Is
they're
this
leather.
based on a Recaro sports seat?
Yeah,
from
it's
early
basically
70s, like a 73 sports
a modern sports seat that's
Okay.
wider for people like me.
Yeah, got it.
And I wanted real Pepita. Yep.
Now, let's take a look in the front trunk and see what you pack when you go out on the road on these rallies. So you got a whole lot of crap here. Tell me what it is.
And this is years of doing rallies, seeing things break, having things break, and having as much as I can.
What you got in this bike?
This is my fan belt kit. Everything I need to do a fan belt, but the funny thing is, I don't work on cars. I know my limitations.
Well, that's good. You got to
I know
your
what
limitations.
is wrong. I know how to fix it.
And you got the
I
stuff.
just can't fix it.
Hopefully someone there
Well,
is-
the key is what you do is you start intentionally doing it wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Inevitably, someone
of
goes,
course.
"Oh, get out of the way.
Yeah.
I'll fix this for
Yeah,
you."
let me show you how to do it.
And this is everything to jack up the car.
Okay.
And then this is tools.
What's here? It looks like you got a few quarts of oil.
Getting ready for Texas. This is 4 quarts of oil.
Yeah.
We've got a half quart here.
Yeah.
Sadly, we're going to need 2 more quarts
You got
of
to, well,
oil.
you got to stay lubricated.
When you're in the middle of nowhere,
That's really important.
you know, duct tape and toilet paper will come in
You
handy.
just need some zip ties.
And I go through cans of window cleaner.
Well, you got to be able to see where you're going.
Yep. So yeah, it's just stuff over the, and then, you know, it never leaves the car.
It's always
In fact,
there.
when we did corner balance and alignment, the guy wanted to take it out. I'm like, nope, leave it all in there and find your 2 fattest techs and put them in the car.
What does the car weigh as is? What?
The last time we corner balanced with half a tank of gas and no one in it, just the crap, it weighed just over 3,000 pounds.
And how much power do you think it has?
Well, it was reported new at 207.
Yeah. So
And
180, 190? You got enough.
It's
You
a
got
momentum car.
Let's talk about this early front latch panel that seems to be contoured to fit.
Yeah, when they were backdating the car and they didn't have a blueprint, they didn't know how to do it, no one was doing it. They took a early long hood, probably 72, 73 cross member brace.
Just shoehorned it in.
I think they put it in and they realized this isn't going to work to fit the hood, so they bent it.
Yeah.
And it's not pretty,
but it's
but
functional.
it works.
Yeah.
You know, and that was really the point. I wasn't looking for pretty, I wanted it to work. And
Let's see how it closes.
yeah, you know.
Let's see
So
how.
look, hey, it
look at
stays
that,
up.
unbelievable. Hud shocks that actually do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, just
Yeah, it closes
shuts.
pretty well.
You could see where I put this European tourist plate on, and
That's
it's
working
nice
pretty
paint
well.
right there.
And then you got some bug catchers over. Are these H4s?
Well, they were H4s.
Yeah.
I've gone through a bunch of those. These are new lights from my friend Jake at 911.
Okay.
911 House.
And where's the grill coming from?
They're just 356 inspired
Okay.
grills. I think they made them years ago. I've gone through a bunch of them, but I mean, every rally you'll see people around me breaking headlights, and I've only gone through one set of lens, and it was really that side when I hit a deer.
Oh, got
Deer's
it, got
fine.
it. Yeah.
Deer lived.
Tell me what you love about doing these rallies.
You know, you get so busy with your life and the noise. There's so much white noise in our world, and when I'm driving, it's a way to turn it off.
Got it.
And when I'm doing a rally where you don't have cell phone reception, you can't get anywhere, you can't talk to anyone, you just, it was like club racing days. You just focus. But instead of focusing for a 20, 30-minute race, you're focusing for hours. And, you know, I'm very fortunate. My dad, who's turning 80, gets to sit with me. He used to drive more. I do most of the driving now.
He's navigating now.
Great navigator.
Is he getting out the old school paper map? When you don't have phone reception?
Not only does he love his paper maps.
I bet he's highlighting the route and where you're going.
He's highlighting it.
Pace notes.
But when we get to a place where all the hipsters don't have reception, and he pulls out his maps and these pictures of groups of guys around him. You know, I have to remind myself to really savor it.
Yeah.
And I get lots of people who had relationships like that with their dad or didn't, and say, gosh, you're so lucky, and I know I am lucky, and I have to constantly remind myself because he's not going to be there every day.
I gotta say, the car shifts exceptionally well. Yeah, the transmission's been rebuilt, but Paul was sensible. He didn't go all whammy with short gears and close ratio cut gears, and he kept it usable. I find a lot of people overbuild cars that are no faster with all the modifications because they kind of hamper them. Paul hasn't done that. He's built a car that's usable, practical, gets the job done, built with a purpose, refined over 100,000 miles, go anywhere. It's got heat, it's got AC, it's got all the things you need, but not, it's still analog, you know, it's not a modern car with all the bells and whistles. You just get in, turn the key, clutch in, put it in gear, let the clutch out and go. And Paul certainly had his fair share of go, having done over 100,000 miles in this car. 341,000 miles is a lot of miles. A lot of what I call smiles per mile, memorable moments. You know, the things I'm always talking about. So I've known Paul Kramer for about 20 years, and I've known about this car for about 10 years. And today I actually got to drive it. And I have to say, I've driven a lot of P cars in my time, and I've gone a lot of places, but this car, it just does it all. It's not the fastest car, but it's the most engaging, it's the most compliant. I've had it in the LA River, I've had it downtown, I've had it in some of my favorite spots. And I have to say, Paul's done an awesome job getting this car all dialed in and sorted, where he can take it on these, 4,000 or 5,000 mile road trips for 10 days. He's not worried about hopping over curbs, getting it soaking wet in the LA River. So I'm gonna get behind the wheel and press on one more time and get more pedal to the metal.